All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College with part 3 of our Magic 8 Ball that we've been creating. I want to come in and I want to add one more folder like we did before. We added the images folder, but I again want to click on here, right mouse click, choose add, and new folder, and I'm going to call this one sounds. Now I could have had just one folder, but to me it doesn't make much sense. I'm going to put a WAV file in here that it's already been created, but I don't really want to put that WAV file into a folder called images. You know, a place for everything in its place, as they say. So I'm going to right mouse click and choose add existing item, and I want to find my sounds folder. There it is. Notice what it sounds like, so I'm going to open it so if you hear this. So that's what's going to play when we get done. All right, so I want to tell it to add that. So now that's in here. All right, and I believe that in order for me to use that, I've got to put another statement in here using system dot, I think it's media. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. All right, and I've already put the code in here for it. I haven't, it's still, right now, it is still commented out, but it's in here somewhere. Maybe I didn't comment it out. There it is. So, again, I went and looked online for this because I didn't know how to do it. Okay? And so I've got a new sound player that I'm creating, and I'm telling it to go out to my sounds folder, find that tada.wav file, and then play it. All right? Nothing grand or glorious about that. But let's save. Let's run the program again. Now let's hear if we get the tada sound. So, will I be rich and famous? Oh, something it doesn't like here. Okay, it's giving me an error, and that's on me. Oh, I already see where the error is. Okay, we'll fix it. This path has got to be exactly the same down here, and it's not. So I've got to put that path in, except for the sounds folder. Come on. There we go. All right. It's a pathing problem, so I'm going to have to grab all of this. I don't want the word images because this isn't sounds. So there we go. Now it should be correct. We're going to find out, though. Again, will I be rich and famous? No doubt. All right, so we've got that. I can reset the form. I can put in another question. Is anyone truly happy? Count on it. Reset the form. I could keep going if I wanted to. And I can exit when I'm done. I'm going to do two more things. First is, even though this may seem like a little bit of overkill, I'm going to come back again in my design mode, and in here, I still would like that to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make that 28 point, which should be plenty big, I hope. Will I be rich and famous? And you can see that it's getting easier and easier to read. Let's do it one more time, and we'll make it. I'm going to keep this one regardless. I'm going to put it at 36 point. All right. So now we've got it. We can run the program. We can put in our question. Am I happy? Cannot tell now. I can reset the form. I can exit the application. If I have nothing in the form, I get the error message. All right. Now, this is not an artificial intelligence program, and what I mean by that is that if I put in garbage, so to speak, you know, what color is the sun? It comes back and it says, cannot tell now, which actually sort of makes sense, all right? But it's expecting, like the true Magic 8-Ball, that you're going to ask questions that are yes, no. All right? Do my daughters truly love me? I have 3 daughters. You're hot. Well, that wasn't the answer I was expecting, but you get the idea. Again, I can reset and I can exit the application. All right, let's do one last thing here, and that is let's take a couple minutes and kind of dissect what we've done. So we'll actually come in here and we'll take a look at all the code from the top. Maybe even write a few more comments. We'll see. All right. This stuff is written by the system, so don't worry about that. That's just some initialization that has to take place. So we've got 3 buttons. We've gone over all of them, but let's do them in the reverse order. So let's do exit the application. So when you exit the application, when you click that button, or, when you either click that button or when you come up here and you use the menu option, you call exit application. And that is this. That brings up that message box that asks the user if they really want to exit the program. And it's got a yes button and a no button. And it's got a question mark icon. If you click the yes button, it exits. If you click the no button, nothing happens. It just gets out. So prompt user to see if she or he wants to end program now. I don't think there's much more to it than that. This is normal program termination. All right, so hopefully all that made sense to you. Sometimes, and I encourage my students to do this, to write a little prologue here that says something like, this method will allow the person running the program to end the program run if she or he so desires. Some people go nuts with this stuff. You know, they draw a little, oops, I didn't want to do that. That was on me. So they draw little, things like this. All right, that's a little overkill in my opinion, but you get the idea. That would be what's referred to as a prologue. All right, so this method will allow the user to running the program to end the program if he or she desires. I'm going to copy this and then just make some changes to it. This method is called, this method is called from either the exit application menu item or from the exit application button to possibly end the program run. All right. So I think we've kind of beat that one to death, so to speak, as far as this button. So we've got our comments. I think that that's pretty good, to be honest with you. All right. We can put a little bit more, so let's see. We had, so right up above that, okay, that's, and this method is called, in this case, this method is actually called from, it's actually called when the user clicks the exit application button to possibly end the program run. That's in that case. If we also copy this and go down to our menu item, this method is called when the user clicks the exit application menu item to possibly end the program. All right? Again, we're putting in a large amount of program documentation. This is internal documentation. All right, so we've got that, I think, covered. Let's do our reset form. Okay? And I want to be consistent in the way that I'm going to be putting this stuff in there. So let's see. So this method will reset the form to its original values. And just as this exit application, it is called by either the exit application menu item or the exit application button. So again, I'm going to grab that. So it is called by either the reset form menu item or the reset form button. All right, I think that's pretty good. Okay. And just as we put down, this is called when you click the button. So this method is called when the user clicks the reset form button to reset the form. All right. Let's copy that. Go down to here in our menu item. So this method is called when the user clicks the reset form menu item to reset the form. All right. And if we look at the actual thing itself, what is it doing? Well, it's taking our text box. All right. It's taking our text box and it's changing its visibility to true, which means we will now be able to see this. All right. Next, it is taking our submit button and it's setting that to true. So this button, which will have been grayed out isn't a good way of putting it, but disabled, will now become enabled. Then it'll take our reset button and it'll set that button to false because we just clicked it. It's already been reset. And finally, it's going to go and take whatever text we had in our text box and blank that out. Then it's going to set the image back. So this image, it'll be reset to this image right here, our original image. And then finally, it'll make sure that we set the focus to the text box so we can ask our next question. All right? And I kind of think that now we have taken that routine, gone over it, commented it quite a bit, etc. So I think that's done pretty well. So let's do our submit. So this method will submit the question to the magic 8-ball, It is called by either the submit question menu item or the submit question button. All right. Okay. So this method is called when the user clicks the submit form button to submit, I think it's submit question button, to submit the question to the Magic 8-Ball. All right. And the other one will be called this is called when the user clicks the submit question menu item to submit the question to the Magic 8-Ball. Again, you notice we're up close to 250 lines of code right now, and probably a good 20% or approximately are comments. Especially when you're just learning to do this stuff, it's important to comment. You comment for two groups or two types of people. One is you comment for yourself, so if you come back and you look at the code at a later time, you know why you did something. But perhaps even more importantly, you comment for people who may end up taking your code and maintaining it, so they know what you did, why you did it, etc. All right? I've told my class that a story, so to speak, of years ago I was working at a company that makes governors for engines. And I was a programmer analyst for them. And I was at the company not very long, and I realized it really wasn't a good fit for me. I wasn't going to be there that long. I ended up staying there about a year. And they asked me to create this order entry system for them for work that they did with Caterpillar tractor. Long story short, I ended up creating an application that was between 7,000 and 8,000 lines long. It was closer to 8. And out of those 8,000 lines, approximately, in fact, over 60%, about almost 5,000 of the lines were comments. I put entire program runs in there so that the person who would end up maintaining this code from me would know what I was trying to do and how I was trying to do it. All right? And they could take a look at that and ideally figure it out. And Mark Wilson, I believe that was the name of the gentleman who ended up, it was years ago, well over 30 years ago now, or around, somewhere around 30 years ago. He ended up maintaining my code. And I asked him when he looked at it, does this make sense? And he said, how could it not? You've got so much documentation in it, I've never seen anything like this before. So long story short, you can't have too much documentation, especially when you're learning. All right? And that's why. So again, I put this using, that was, added for the sound player. Okay? All right. So when we submit the question, again, this will submit the question to the Magic 8-Ball. So what does this do? Well, it does submit the question to the Magic 8-Ball, but it first checks to see whether or not there was a question actually inputted. If no question is inputted, a message is given to the user and the method returns with no further action required. If anything was entered into the associated text box, we generate the answer after first resetting the associated text box and button attributes. This method is called by either the submit question menu item or the submit question button. Okay? Again, that's plenty, I think at least, that's plenty of documentation there. So I'm going to call this a flag, and a flag means it's, basically something set to yes or no, true or false, on or off, 1 or 0, whatever. Flag for no input. And we set that to false. We assume there is input. All right, but then we call this routine, to actually verify that the user inputted something into the text box. All right? So, if text box was empty, no further action required, just return from the method. Okay? If we get down to this point, there was something inputted into the text box. So make the text box invisible, disable the submit question button, and enable the reset form button. All right? So that's what we're doing here. In this generate the associated answer. So again, we can put I don't want to put this much in there. I'm just going to grab a couple of these lines. So this method will make the actual check to verify that something was inputted in the associated text box. All right. Check for empty input. If no input, provide a message for the user and return true for the no input flag. Say check for empty text box. input. If no input, provide a message for the user and return true for the no input flag. If there was input, just return true for the no input flag. There we go. All right. This method will generate the answer for the magic 8-ball. It will also change the associated 8-ball image and provide the ta-da sound when the image is changed. All right. Got a lot of comments in here already, and we've gone over those. So if you look, we must be up around 300 lines now, 293 lines. So there's a lot of comments in here. I don't want to take the time, but my guess is, again, probably 20% maybe of the program, our comments are pretty darn close to it. But you should be able to work your way through here now and really and truly understand what was done. All right? And that's pretty much, let me save this, run it one last time, make sure I didn't break anything. Let's see. Will the St. Louis Cardinals win the World Series in 2017? It is okay. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but reset the form, that's all works. Now, when I do this, when this happens, I want to reset the form. So, again, I'll just put some junk in here. And if I hit escape, it does the reset. The only thing that's still not working is when I come in here and I hit enter, now it works. I don't know what the glitch was before. All right, so now I get that. I can hit escape. I can hit enter. That's perfect. So, to my knowledge, we're all done. What I'm going to do when you actually come in here is I'm going to print out copies of this. That's a lot to print out, but I'm going to ask my boss. And if he says it's okay, everyone's going to get a hard copy of this. Plus, you're going to get your own electronic copy of this on the flash drive if I can have those made available to me. That's about all I have for right now. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.